Welcome. Today we have a very special guest joining us, a magnificent lady who's had 15 years experience in the VNL, 8 years in the ANL, has been the playing coach of the Mount Evelyn Footy Netball Club, A grade side and the rest of their teams for the past 4 years, including a much deserved premiership in 2019 and recently making her Suncorp Super Netball debut, Kaitlyn Black. Magnificent to have you along in this situation. Thank you for joining us in such a busy but maybe not busy schedule. We'll get into that in a couple of minutes. And welcome, Kaitlyn Black.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
That's all right. So this is all the call up to the SSN has been quite quick for yourself, I'd say. I have heard that you were on the training squad for Collingwood. That's where it all started off over the pre-season.
Yeah.
But tell us how you got to be up in now Queensland, because I think originally they started the hubs in New South Wales, and now you're up in Queensland.
Yeah, definitely. It was a bit of a last minute. I think I was training through pre-season and had signed on to play in their Australian League team, in their feeder team, so for Tassie Magpies. And we had a couple of training camps in Tassie with practice matches and things, and it'd been really good, progressing really well with the Collingwood girls, because half the ANL team are based in Tassie and half of them are in Victoria. So we were lucky enough to be in that Collingwood environment. And then COVID happened and everything got shut down. So the Australian League got cancelled, and the girls had to leave the Holden Centre. So we sort of thought, all right, well, that's it. Netball's done for the year. Hang up the boots. But luckily, Collingwood was able to get MSAC to train. So they moved, but they were only allowed to have 10 people because of the rules. Yep. So, and then they said, you're here, but just stay in the wings. It might happen, it might not, depends what the word is. And that's when they were talking about a hub in New South Wales. And then all of a sudden, like literally overnight, then they'd say, oh, great, you're going to come into training. I'm like, okay, cool. Organised my annual leave, got my days off, ready to train Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And then the next day they call again. Oh, no, sorry, we're going to Queensland for a hub. Training's off. Okay, cool. Pack all my stuff back up. And then I think they flew to Queensland on the Monday, and on the Tuesday night they rang me and said, we've just gotten here. We're thinking it through. We need more than 12 players. It's very rare to get through a season with just your normal squad of 12, even, I mean, and that goes through every competition. You're always losing girls to injuries and niggles and load management and things. So they realised they had to expand, and they were able to get me on a flight pretty soon after that. So I arrived in Queensland a week after everyone else. And because of that, I had to do my quarantine by myself in the hotel, which wasn't too fun, but it wasn't, to be honest, it wasn't that bad. It was good that the AFL had started, the netball had started, the NBA had started, so I could just sit there and watch sport for 2 weeks straight.
Nice.
Before being and moving up here into our beautiful hub on the Sunshine Coast.
So what's that like? You're in hotel situations similar? We see a lot on the TV at the moment about how the AFL hubs are set up, but a lot of other sports don't get as much coverage as the AFL. So let us know how that's going.
Yeah, we're really lucky here. We're at an accommodation called the Seabull, and it's sort of based in Twin Waters, which is a little suburb, and it's a nice, really quiet spot of Sunshine Coast. And where we are, there's like a lagoon in the middle. We're on one side, and then the whole other side is the Novotel, and that has some of the rugby teams and 4 of the AFL teams. So we're all sort of stationed in the one little spot, and we have access to the same bit of the beach, which is lovely. But here, it's kind of got a feeling a bit like a retirement village, I guess you'd say. It's sort of all these little individual houses and units. And it's a mix of, some of us it's accommodation. So for like the team, we're all here, but there's also people that live here permanently. This is their residence. So it's got a really relaxed, comfortable feel. I'm stationed here. I'm on the ground floor. I've got a nice little garden path out to the beach. My coaches are about 700 meters away in a whole different building. Like, everyone's so spaced out. It's nice. We're very lucky so that we're not stuck in a hotel room with just one little living space and, a shared bedroom. We've got our own rooms, our own bathrooms, and our own bit of space.
And you're
which
not
is good.
you're not on top of each other either, so it's not like you're being watched by the
Exactly.
coaches all the time about you're not in bed on time, or you're eating snacks when you shouldn't be.
Yeah. And it's good because we do have our own kitchen. It means that all of our food preparation is on us. So it's good. You can actually set up your routine as normal as possible, which I think is really important for preparation and for even just that game day, like mental control. You want to do things as much like you would if you were at home. So we've been able to make this a home away from home. Yeah, we're very lucky. It's been very nice, particularly considering the restrictions in place for us as a hub. We're allowed to go buy takeaway food. And we're allowed to go for walks with people, but that's it. Otherwise, it's just here at the hub or at the beach where we've got sort of access.
Yeah.
So, when it's raining and wet like it is today, you do feel a little bit more cooped up just sitting here inside. But otherwise, we've at least got the freedom to walk up and down.
But you can't go out shopping or...
No. Or... I know a few of the girls when they got here, they're like, "Oh, great, I can go get my hair cut." But no, that got taken off the table pretty quickly. So we were really lucky, actually. We had one round in Adelaide, so we flew there. Oh God, to be honest, every day here is exactly the same, so I couldn't even tell you when it was.
It wasn't that long ago, I don't think.
I don't think so.
Okay.
It's all over. But in Adelaide, the restrictions were slightly more relaxed, and we were allowed to go out. So we went out for breakfast as a team. Which we sort of had to because we were in a hotel then with no facilities. But it felt very surreal to be sitting at a table, drinking coffee from a mug with people around you. You just thought, is this allowed? Is this normal life? It's, hard to remember it.
So then we get into your spend a few games on the bench. Everybody down here are now at our East competitions, probably like me, sitting there watching every game, hanging for... just have a chat. Oh, we're down by a bit. Let's just, get her on, give her a go. Or we need to shake something up. Let's put KB in. Or the other one was, I was thinking you're actually up there. You're the replacement for Jiva if something happens to Jiva. So well, she's going way too well. This might not happen. And then all of a sudden I turn around one night. Your name's mentioned. You're on the court and you're in wing defence. How often have you played in wing defence?
I grew up playing, most people you'll ask, they've tried every position. I grew up goalkeeper and I moved to goal defence and then I went back to goalkeeper. That's about as far as I ever went. So it wasn't until I started playing under Kate Upton in the Victorian Netball League. So she's actually one of the old coaches of Mount Evelyn. She's probably the best coach Mount Evelyn have ever had. And she's the assistant coach here for Collingwood. But when I played for her for Blaze, she moved me into wing defence and I love it. It's such a good challenge. I must say, being 6'1", I'm a little bit lanky and uncoordinated. And when you get
you'd be one of the tallest wing defenders going around.
Yeah, when you get matched up on the Kelsey Browns of the world, you're running around like a headless chook. But it's such a good challenge. So I've played it a little bit there, and I was lucky to play it a little bit in the Australian League for Fury as well. So had a little bit of experience, but it was... Goalkeeper is probably my more natural position, but when you've got someone like Jiva in front of you, you're happy to sit on the bench and watch that master at work. So
when I see up at goal shooter at Mount Ev occasionally, is that just because you're trying to send a message to the goal shooter who was there, or you just want a bit of a rest?
Funny enough, I've only moved into goals when I was the coach. I put myself there. I don't think any coach would willingly put me in goals. I do love it. I love the challenge and it's something different. And I fancy myself a bit of a goal attack, but unfortunately, the accuracy probably lets me down at times. But any chance to run around.
Oh well, now with the super shot, you've got to be able to bomb them from way out.
Yeah, I know. Goal attack. A long range. Yeah.
So tell us about the experience and the feeling of getting onto the court for the first time. Like, I call it a debut when you make the team and you're sitting on the bench. That's a debut for me, from coming from more of a football background. Like, you're in the team that's playing on the court, so I count that as a debut. But learn more about netball. They really don't count that at all until you've actually stepped on the court. And
I think that's the difference with football when you're named in that squad of 22. Yep. Yes, you've got your 4 on the bench, but you have to rotate. Like, that's how you can't get through a game with only the 18 on the field. Where netball is quite cutthroat, I guess. And it's literally the starting 7. Often that's it, and it's very, very rare that coaches make changes. We are really lucky this year that they've brought in the rolling subs rule, so players can just float on and off, similar to football, which we've never had before. It makes it easier to put your younger and your bench players on for a few minutes and then take them off if things aren't working. So we always knew there was a possibility to get thrown on at any minute, but I must say I probably wasn't as nervous as I thought I would be, given that we were playing really well and we had a timeout, and one of the girls in wing defence had come off a contact pretty rough and was feeling a bit sore, and they decided to make the change, and it was sort of just a natural feeling. Oh yeah, here we go. This is netball. I know how to do this.
Yep.
And I must say it really helped when you've got people like Jiva and Jodie Ann Ward standing next to you, whispering your name and tapping you along, and you kind of feel a bit more part of it. It was good. It was very exciting. I think my sister tried to film me, and I think she caught the one patch where I threw the ball away, which was lovely. If I just rule out that 10 seconds, I'll just take the other 6.5 minutes.
Take us back. Let us know where you started, where your hometown first netball club.
My parents were always encouraging us to get out and try every single sport and whatever we could do. So we started really young in under 11s and in the sort of net set go things as a kid. But it wasn't until I got to high school, sort of 13, 14, that I really decided that netball was the sport that I wanted to play. Before that, it always clashed with dancing, and because it cost a lot more money for mum to have to buy the dancing outfit, she said, well, she's bought it now, you have to use it, you have to do dancing, no netball. But luckily I got my way at 13 and hung up the tap shoes and moved across to netball properly. I have played for a lot of clubs. I'm a sucker and I can never say no when people ask me to fill in, so any opportunity. But I first started playing out at H.E. Parker, which is a big reserve in Heathmont, where lots of the local Eastern clubs play, and I was playing there for a little while, and then later on in high school, a friend moved me across to the Muralbark courts, which are now at Kilsyth, I believe, but that was more of your Wonga Park and your Coldstream and a lot more of those clubs that are based closer out where we are. So I played there for a little bit, but my first representative club, I guess that you'd call it, that you had to try out for, and it was sort of that next step up, that was, in my day, it was called Vic Churches, but then they moved to just be called Aerials, and then they changed to be called Yarra. So they've sort of changed their name a little bit, but they were based out in the east. We trained at Maroondah Stadium or Yarra Valley Grammar, in around that way. And so I played with them for quite some time, and that was really lucky. They had a pathway from under 11s, under 13s, all the way up to state league. So I worked my way up, playing championship for them there in the state league before moving to my current club, Northeast Blaze, which is based out in, I'd say Diamond Creek, but we actually are out near Latrobe now. So
with the uni facilities, or?
Yep.
Yeah, I know they're doing a lot of work out there, trying to make a big hub of all of that at Latrobe Uni. And even H.E. Parker's had massive renovations. Have you been out there?
Yeah, we had a few games. I think we actually played the first game there against Aerials back whenever it opened. Was it last year? Whatever that was. Yeah, played out there. It's a beautiful stadium. I just can't get my head around the fact that it's the same place that I grew up playing every Saturday and every tournament on a Sunday. But yeah, it looks good. But obviously we grew up out that way, and my cousin, who is still at the club with me now, she started playing in under 17s there. And my two sisters, they'd asked me to play, but I work on a Saturday, and it was just way too hard to try and get out all that way for a game, given that I was living in Windsor. But I said, oh, my sisters play netball. I'm sure they'd be happy to come down and have a run. And so they went along, and I think they'd played there 2 years, and I went along to watch them play in the final in B grade, and I thought, this is just amazing. There's such better quality than I expected, and the way it was such a community with the football and the netball, and everyone was around and everyone knew each other. It kind of, I must say, it sucked me in. So here I put my hand up to.
So I was going to say, what got you to Mount Evelyn from there? I didn't know whether that would be another Cape connection or.
I can't believe, and it's funny when I go back through the list of the Mount Evelyn players, they've got a ridiculously amazing backlog of players, and so many of them are close friends that I still am very much in touch with now. And I think it's funny that we just never crossed paths at that moment, and to like, yeah, but it all sort of goes in roundabouts, I guess. But
well, you've
to come back.
You've done just as well as them, considering that I think they were all, most of them were probably part of the team that won 3 A-grade premierships in a row. So they set a standard for you, but you have, they hadn't won one since they left, and you've been able to accomplish that last year. To take us back to 2019 now, and how that season panned out for you, and yeah.
Yeah, it was hard because you're right. Because since after that block of premierships, the club did have a bit of a lull, and it was funny. Even talking my first year there as head coach, talking to some of the other coaches, they were like, "Okay, so our first round is against Wandon. We don't count that as round one. We know that we're going to lose. We we start the next week." And I just thought, what sort of mentality is this? So it sort of took me a bit to get used to it, and the extreme, the level of competition. It's just fantastic. Every week you knew you were coming up against this person and this person, and every team had those big names, and there was never an easy win. So that in my first year, we all the teams sort of finished in that middle of the rank, around 6, just out of finals, and it was disappointing, but I think it sort of was a good indication of where the club was at, and moving into 2019, we sort of set about plugging a few holes, but the main thing was just about trying to retain the girls and get the same group through, so that you can actually start to consolidate the game plan and work together a bit more. And to finish last year with all 4 of our open teams in finals was amazing. I had the memory pop up on my Facebook just the other week of everyone, all the team photos lined up on the day, and it was amazing. We knew we were going in with a chance, but we didn't realise that just how strong of a competition we could be, I guess. We finished, for A grade in particular, we finished second on the ladder, and we had a couple of losses to Officer, and I actually think that was a really good thing. I think it's important to lose during the home and away season, and to learn how to come back from it, I guess, and what things you really need to work on. And I think it definitely gave us that edge, that we knew it doesn't matter if we're down in the game. We know that we can fight this back, because we could see that each time we played, we were reducing the margin, we were getting better. So we went into it feeling good, but finals is anyone's game. It's 5 weeks. It's a long, anything could happen. So you just have to go out there and try win it on the day. And amazingly, A grade got all the way through to the end and got the flag. It was phenomenal.
And some of the best celebrations I'd seen in any premiership win of my time around the competition were yours. I don't know whether I've seen a stacks on the court after the final hooter, but you provided that for us. Well done there.
I did say to the girls, remember, no matter win or loss, you make sure you shake everyone's hand after the game. I hate those teams that just run off, and then if you're the team that's lost, you're sort of standing there going, well, good sportsmanship. And I distinctly remember when the siren went, I sort of turned around and was like, oh, what am I doing? Trying to shake people's hand. And all of a sudden it was just this whirlwind. But that's like I said, my cousin is there, and she's one of our A grade players. She's worked her way up. My 2 sisters were there. I've got so many close friends that when you win, it's literally just one big, like, you just feel like a big family. And it was a beautiful group of girls, and just one of the best days. I have that game on a memory stick, and I actually watched it quite a bit, to be honest. My parents were actually away at the time of the game. They've never really come to watch our Mount Evelyn, just because they've been involved in all of our other netball. They do need a day off, so often Sundays was their day off. And the moment their plane landed, about 3 weeks after that final, we ushered them home. We put it on, and we made them sit there and watch the entire game. Commentated it, watched it twice, pointed out everything we wanted them to see. It will go down, I think, in history for us as one of our best.
Especially considering you said that was the first premiership so far that you've been able to be involved with, or championship team, depending on the competition you've been playing in. So, that must have felt like a bit of a relief as well.
Yeah, and I think I took for granted I didn't think being a player coach would be that hard. I thought, it's fine. You just go out there and play. You get a little bit of feedback. But particularly in the hairy end of the season and coming into finals, it was really, really tough to be able to make those calls and to know when to pull people off, whether I should bench. And particularly when I'm having a crapper of a game, it's really hard to then say, well, okay, I'm going to drag myself. Yeah, it was a really big challenge. And the girls, I cannot believe the way they literally just listened to anything I said. They went out and did it. They were so easy to coach, and they really made me feel like I was valued and I had something to share. And I think if we'd had any other dynamic of personalities, it might have been a completely different result. I think it was just that everyone just wanted to play for each other. Saying that, we had I think we had quite a few games throughout the year that I was quick to turn around to my partner in crime, Jackie, my sister, who I would defend with, and tell her to pull her finger out or to work harder and she'd snap back at me, or there'd be tears, or there'd be, and then our other sister on the bench would be yelling at both of us, telling us to work harder. So it was definitely a little bit of ups and downs, but that's more just sisters, isn't it?
Along the journey, you've actually been helped us out as a competition and been able to represent us for Interleague on a couple of occasions, which I believe there's two from memory.
I was trying to think that through. I played 1 year. I think that was my first year with Mount Evelyn.
2016.
Yeah. And then I was meant to play and coach another year, but that's when I got pulled up into the Australian League.
And went to Canberra, I think.
Yeah, and so that one was out. And then the year I played for Fury, I got pulled out as well. And so last year was sort of my second time actually getting to step out on court and play, even having been around it for a few years, just never being able to finish it off. So last year was great down in Bendigo. Another incredibly tough competition down there.
Yeah.
Build them big in the country.
And well, again, that there's so much community. That's their main sport. Unless they are playing at that next level, that's their top, and they just get so involved in it, which is great for those clubs and those communities. That's what they're all about.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Do you remember your teammates from 2016 at all?
Oh, let me think. I remember Sarah Hogan being in charge. I have to drop her name, or she'll be on to me. That was funny actually, because that was the first. Even though I was playing for Mount Evelyn, I was sort of just playing each week. I hadn't really gotten fully involved in the culture of it, and I hadn't really thought it through that much. And I turned up and I'm like, oh, I know all of you girls from having played in the EFL on a Friday night, or playing, VNL, or playing at Waverley Premier League. I'm like, we have always played against each other and we have never liked each other. And it's really nice to actually be on the same team, and you get to meet people off the court, because people are completely different. They're so, the girls were lovely. I was like, this is great. I think that might actually be my first ever go playing with Krista. And she's a legend. Particularly, I think every final or every team I've ever played in, she has popped up against me at some point. And getting to play with her, I was like, oh, this is fantastic. No matter where I am in the defence third, I just turn and throw it and she gets it. Somehow she finds a way. But yeah, lovely to meet people when you're on the same team.
So you can't recall that Gabby Sinclair was actually the goal attack in that game?
Of course. Oh, that's right. That was the year that she was with Wandon. Legend. Yeah. Gabby and I have played together since we were very little. So it's hard to remember.
Well, she's grew up in a similar area, I believe.
Yeah. In Heath1, yeah.
Yeah. So, and last year you were assistant coach as well for the Interleague team?
Yeah, with Guy, which was great.
Yeah. And unfortunately we didn't get the victory, but as you said, it was a very tough competition, and you actually did so much better than the footy did that day.
I remember watching the football game. I was like, is that score correct? Surely not. For myself, I think I'm just hoping to finish out the year with, getting to be part of this is more of a dream than I ever could have expected. So to be here is amazing, but I'm really hoping that by the time I get home and towards the end of the year, we can start planning a pre-season for next year. So Let's hope 2021 involves a netball court at some point. Who knows?
So still on, as they got you signed up for Mount Ev?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Can't walk away after a premiership. Although I do keep reminding everyone that we are still reigning premiers.
Yeah, that's been the best thing for everybody. Like they've had the extended period of reigning premiership status than anyone else.
So it's the celebration that never ends, to be honest. But yes, we got to go again. You got to get the group back together and have another crack.
Thank you very much for spending some time with me and chatting to us about your connections with the Outer East and how well you're going with the Collingwood Magpies. And we wish you all the best for the rest of the season, and hopefully we get back on the court for 2021.
Yes, I can't wait. I want to unveil the flag and do a few laps around with the cup. I'm gonna have to round one next year, hopefully. Yeah, it's been good that they've been doing stuff like this and staying linked in, even though it's been a long year. Even for the Mount Ev girls, we were doing a lot of Zoom sessions right up until sort of the last COVID hit. So it's been nice to stay linked in with everyone, but can't wait to see everyone face to face and